Well, there we go. Well, I'm all over the place. Where are we? There we are. Hello. What a great way to start the show. My name's Darren. This is the Village Law SEQFC preview show. Thank you for joining us after a couple of weeks off. We went and watched a few Australia Cup games on the Wednesday nights, so we didn't bother about recording. So we've got heaps to catch up on, and I've got a few guests on the show tonight to help us run through it. He's back from Cyprus. Great. It's Tony Jorkas. G'day, Tony.
Good evening, everyone. How are we?
It's our Greek Cypriot Aussie.
Yeah, Greek Cypriot Aussie. That's right.
Mate,
very wild mixture.
Those trips, are they weight producing or weight reducing?
Which ones?
Your trips to Cyprus.
They are definitely weight producing. I went from size 34 pants in 8 weeks to a size 38.
Naughty boy.
That's
Naughty
good,
fun
yeah.
boy.
I'm putting it down to alcohol.
What do you drink over there, Tony?
A lot of beer because it's bloody boiling hot, so it goes down very nicely. Thank you.
Right. So you're not a Nuzo man?
I have a few of those every now and then as well. There's another little shot thing that they call it Zivania, which is like grappa. So you have shots of that. Yeah, bit of everything. I didn't never miss out on anything.
Lovely. Sounds
Good
good.
stuff.
Life's too short to be miserable.
Exactly. That other voice you're hearing, of course, is fellow admin Lliam Parslow. G'day, Lliam.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, good. Ooh. All right, now I've got just the two guests with us this evening. We've got Jack. Jack, oh my God, Jack, I've forgotten your surname.
Jack Sullivan, I'm from UQFC.
He's the head honcho at UQFC. And mate, it's going to be great talking to you tonight because your competition is probably one of the closest that we've got in the pyramid at the moment. So it's going to be fantastic talking to you. We've also got the president of Surfers Paradise, Apollo. His name's Kirk Brebner. Can't forget that, can I, Kirk?
No, you cannot forget that one, mate. How are we all? SEQ and the boys. Good to see you back again.
Welcome back. Yep.
And congratulations, Kirk. You've done and dusted already.
Yeah, mate. Thanks very much. Poor Q's put away. No, it's done. No, it was a good season. Well, still is a good season. So celebrations last weekend. So yeah, onwards and upwards.
What's the Surfers Paradise Apollo celebration look like, mate?
Well, we didn't get a trophy, so we just held up the champagne, and we ended up going out to the sponsors bar down at Cavill Hotel in Surfers Paradise, and yeah, many drinks, many oozos too. Been a great club, so yeah.
Yeah,
good to see another great club coming up.
That's good. That's good. We're looking forward to QPR1, the challenge. It will be a challenge, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, we'll come to that in just a moment. Let's start with the Australia Cup. Fantastic to see 3 Queensland teams into the last 16. Won't go into too much detail other than to say, yay, way to go, teams. Now, the NPL. Oh, Tony, I was at Goodwin Park on the weekend watching Olympic take on Lions. I thought, oh, there's 2 teams up the top of the ladder. Lions won the game, as they do, and then they all start jumping all over each other and going, geez, they're getting a bit excited about that win. Turns out they won the league, and I didn't even realise.
I'm surprised how comfortably they won it.
Oh, they have, haven't they? Incredible.
Because Olympic, the first 10 minutes looked like a different team altogether, and then they just collapsed.
They looked Olympic looked absolutely brilliant in those first 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
How many they're going to score. Just couldn't get it done. Lions on their first counter-attack. Get the goal.
Scores, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Olympic had so many opportunities in that game. They had the pinball across the face of goal twice in the second half.
Yeah.
You just knew that it just wasn't going to be their night, and Lions just get it done again.
Well, they haven't had too many nights in big games, have they, Olympic, lately?
Go on.
Well, what am I going to say? They're going to come at me again.
Here's your shovel, Tony.
I will be very interested to see what happens there at the end of the year. Do they go another year, or do they get rid of everyone and start from scratch? because it's now 5 years. They've only won a big game in 5 years.
Yeah. What if they win the grand final this year, though, Tony?
Well, that's a different kettle of fish. That's a big if, and they've had 4 cracks and they haven't succeeded in any.
Yeah. And if they play like they did on Sunday night and have a bit more luck,
Mate,
then
they play good
they could
football,
very
but
well
they just
do
can't seem. They play good football. No one can deny that. But they just can't seem to win those big games. Is it a psychological thing? What, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been
I'll
watching them the last month. They haven't been playing well the last month. They drew with Kapalaba 3-0.
That was a shock, that one.
Yep.
That was a shock. That might have been a case of
They were 3-0 down.
it might have
They
been a
lost.
case.
They lost the power. And then they Lions again now. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, was it Lions played 19 and they won 14. The next best was Olympic winning 11. So they've
That's a huge gap.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all tipped them to win the league though this season, didn't we, guys?
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
Lions. I think I had Lions.
Yeah.
Look, the top 4 was certain top 4. They've been the same for the last 5 years.
Yeah. We did pretty much predict the top 4, I think.
It's just how easy Lions have won it that surprised me.
Yeah. They haven't dropped anything really this season, have they? Like we were talking last season where they had like a mid-season in the middle of the season. They were kind of they were kind of a bit awkward, and they weren't quite getting there. But this season they've been there the whole season, and that's a great thing for all their players and the staff that they got there. And as I said last season as well, you got to have that backroom staff there that supports. So they've got some good. I don't know whether they got any psychs in there or what to try and keep that mental pressure in control, but they've certainly done very well this season. So yeah,
They're averaging 3.5 goals a game.
Yeah. Benchmark once again in the men's and the women's as well, and I suppose we'll get to that. But
of course, in the NPL women's, their side is 1 point away from wrapping up the league. Rob Askew, I'm getting sick of saying how good this guy is and how it's a disgrace that he's not coaching in the A-League women's.
And what was it, 50 games straight too, wasn't it?
This is his second run of 50 games undefeated. He
Really?
did it with the Gap. He now goes to the Lions and does it again.
I didn't know he did that with the Gap.
Yeah, I think it was 52. And, and the game that they lost was a grand final to Peninsula Power.
Oh, wow.
Jack Sullivan, I'll bring you in on that one, mate.
Yeah, obviously what Lions have done this year again has sort of been the benchmark for not just the NPL, but I guess any top women's side across Queensland, sort of year in, year out. So yeah, been just walked away with it. We could probably see that after a third of the season, they were going to do it once again. And yeah, kudos to them for the work that's been put in over there. And for, I think, have they won the league officially?
They need one more point.
They'll do it this weekend.
To get it done.
I presume they'll pick up that point fairly shortly. Yeah. Absolutely the benchmark. I think for all clubs, for the last couple of seasons with what they've done, for sure.
What is interesting is that Gold Coast United have slipped into second place with the game in hand as well. So they've certainly made their move at the right time of the season.
It has been very tight after Lions, obviously, the women's NPL, with the exception, I think Moreton Bay has slipped off a little bit in the last couple of weeks. But looking at the ladder, it's been from Gold Coast down to Olympic. It's all looking pretty tight in there, results-wise as well.
Good league. I mean, Moreton Bay are in 9th place, but they're only on -15 for goal difference. And considering they've only had the 1 win, 3 draws, it's not too bad.
Yep.
Yeah, great. Okay.
I think is it though? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. That was a bit.
Yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Let's move on to your league, Liam. We're going to throw this over to you.
Oh wow! I've done a bit of thinking about this league this past week. A lot of mathematics, especially because of my Western Pride lads. But look, congrats to Rochdale, who were confirmed last week to be going up to the NPL. Now, like Logan and Capalaba before them, they have battled, season upon season to try and get those spots and get that position to get up there. So this season, it's worked out for them, and I'm very happy for them. I'm very happy for the club because when plans come together and a lot of effort comes together, a lot of people come together to try and make this happen. It's happened. So I'm very happy for them, and of course Redlands going back up. That's kind of, oh well, great. Congratulations. But you just come down now, you go back up again, probably where you belong. But no, Rochdale certainly have done the hard yards the last couple of seasons.
I think we remember our pre-season predictions. Yeah. I know that I certainly was heavy on Redlands not going up. So, but we all said Graham Harvey can work wonders, and he's done it again.
Yeah. Look, and more power to him, especially now that he's also got the Raw gig as well. So he's probably like the last few 4 or 5 weeks, he's probably really been juggling a few things on his plate. But no, certainly done well for Redlands to get him up there as well.
I missed that, Liam. What's the story there?
With Graham Harvey and
is he Bernie's assistant now?
He's isn't he Brisbane Raw assistant coach as well now, or was that just during the Aston Villa visit and all that?
No, I think he's been appointed.
Yeah, I think he has. Yeah. But I'm not sure whether that's how that goes with his Redlands duties though. Maybe next season he might be during the Raw off season. Maybe he's going back to Redlands. But no, I think I saw him on the bench there on telly when they were playing Leeds on the Gold Coast. Yeah. Did you not know that, Darren, the oracle of Southeast Queensland football?
That one slipped me by.
How'd you miss that? Jeez.
I suppose you allowed a couple of mistakes, mate. I suppose you allowed a couple of mistakes.
There's a lot that gets past me, no worries.
Well, just quickly, recapping the FQPL 1. Because now we've got a huge battle. Now that I haven't checked the score just in the last couple of minutes, but last time I saw, Brisbane Strikers were up against Rochdale. So that means that 4th, 5th, and 6th, they're all equal on points. So that's Pride, Strikers, and Magpies. They're all on 27 points, and Magpies has a game in hand. So that's going to be very interesting. That'll pretty much be the last final spot. Now, Pride have sat in 3rd for weeks and weeks now, and they've had so many results go in their favour. That's kept them in 3rd place. But it's all starting to catch up now. All those games are starting to catch up to them. So they're down to 4th. So they'll be hoping for some good results the last two rounds versus Redlands and versus Caboolture. So again,
Strikers are still leading 1-0.
They are. Okay. Now the thing with Caboolture is they'll probably be wanting to get out of that relegation playoff that they'll have to play against FQPL 2. So they'll be up for the final game. Pride will be up for the final game, but try and get them back up in the final spot. So this is going right down to the last match for these two clubs. So that'll be a good one to keep an eye on. So I think all of them are being played at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. Last time I looked, I don't know how true that is, whether it's just a schedule that they put out early in the season, but a lot of the games in FQPL 1 I think are being played at 4 p.m. on Sunday. So it's the old Premier League thing where everyone plays each other on the last day. So look, Mitchelton as well. Look, we were talking about it off air just before about Mitchelton had a bit of a poor start to the season, but they've come right at this last stage of the season. Let's hope that they can continue that run for Dan, because I think two of the three of us had Michelin going up
Top four.
going up to NPL next season. So that was a bit of a shock to see them down there. But that's got to battle out as well. If Caboolture beat Pride, and depending on Mitchelton's results, Mitchelton could be the ones going down for that battle. So, but okay, I'll wrap it up real quick. Now, I love my Ipswich football, as you know. I come from Ipswich. You know, it's my hometown. Pride's my team. But whatever team's playing for Ipswich, I'll back and I'll follow. And this including Ipswich Knights. Now, they're relegated FQPL 2, and I know that Oggy and Dan there would be, you know, they battled all seasons. They've had a few Reds go towards in the last few seasons, but I want to put out to Knights for next season. I just want to say this, that you guys are the historical club. You guys hold all the trophies from all the merging clubs over the last, you know, whatever 80, 100 years or whatever. You know, you're the holders of Ipswich football history. Take that next season and let's get back being to where Ipswich football belongs. Get back up to the end, to the FQPL, and fight and battle, work hard for it, and let's just start putting our game back on the map out this way.
10 points between 3rd and 10th in that competition. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a battle. So this is back down to Kirky as well. I wish you luck next season, mate, because it's going to be a tough competition. And I think you'll find it a lot harder than the FQPL 2.
No, we expect that. Definitely expect that. It's a different kettle of fish. FQPL 1. Look forward to it.
Sorry there, Darren. You go.
No problem at all, Lliam. I love it when you take over, mate. Good stuff.
Really?
Just looking at the FQPL 1 women's, Provincial Power on top by 8 points, just pouring along. What's interesting, though, the Gap are in bottom place with just 2 points for the season. I'm not sure if the pyramid opens up for the women yet. So I think the Gap is safe in 8th place, that they'll be in that competition again next year. Happy to be proven wrong, but it certainly was the case last season. All right, Kirk, let's get to you now, mate. 20 games, 17 wins, 3 draws, no losses, 54 points. Amazing effort this season. Congratulations. Sanford have moved into 2nd place, though. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for that. Yeah, it's been a good season for Surfers. Obviously, we sort of knew coming up to the league, we sort of looked at the league in the pre-season and thought, you know, we could probably do something quite well here, and obviously we proved that. Looking forward to the task next year, but obviously this year now, that top 4, I think the real battle is now. I think Sanford, we gubbed 10-1, and then ever since then I think they've won every game. So they're really firing. So that second automatic place now for promotion, that's a battle between the I think Wolves, Sanford, and Albany Creek. And Albany's dropped off a lot since midway through the season. So it's really interesting there. Really interesting to see who's going to get the automatic spot, and then obviously the 3rd spot's a playoff. So.
What are you hearing of the causes of Ace's drop-off?
Looks just down to player injuries, things like that. You know, they, like I said, mid-season the table. I mean, midway through, they were really up there with us, only like a couple of points between us.
Yep.
They were going to give us more of a challenge in that top 2 race. But unfortunately, they obviously lost a few players and they dropped out. And then to see Sanford, who've come right up there, that was a surprise. So it's been plain sailing since then, I think, unfortunately, for the rest of the clubs. But in saying that, it's been a competitive league in terms of every game's been hard. It's never been easy. We've dropped a few points to a few of the clubs down below, you know, so everyone on their day can certainly perform. It's just... you know, this QPL 1 next year, I think we need to buy a bus or a plane, because we seem to be travelling a hell of a lot. That's an interesting one. But, it's been a good league. Unfortunately, the clubs down the bottom, Magic and Cooma from the Gold Coast, But one of them are going to go down. Probably more like after last night's results. So might get another Gold Coast team up there in Broady or Rabina. They're looking quite strong in the QPL 3, so hopefully they get the playoff spot. Yeah.
Just out of interest, what's the age profile of your squad, Kirk? Have you got a young team, or you got? It's got to be an established squad now, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, we've got an established squad that's been there for a couple of years. Most of the blokes are at late 20s, some of the early 30s, you know, some beyond that. But we've actually brought in a couple of younger guys this year. Obviously, when the transfer window came in, we brought in a couple of younger guys, 18, 19-year-olds. We're trying to sign the best young players on the coast to provide them a platform to play out of if they can't make it into the NPL with the Knights or Gold Coast United. So we've tried to bring some youth in there to sort of spice it up. Just a couple of old legs in there, but, you know, I think the oldest one is Teddy Watson, 35, but still scoring about 28 goals. So he might score a goal at his age, 35. That would be interesting. But yeah, no. So it's a bit of a mixture, which honestly, that's what you need. Our 23s are all in the 18, 19. So I think they won the league themselves on the weekend. So they're battling for spots in our first team. So we sort of make it easy and hard for ourselves in trying to pick players each week, which is good. That's what you want, competition. But it's definitely about trying to bring some young kids in there, because you can't always, the old boys can't keep battling away week after week.
We had you on the show at the beginning of the year, and I think I asked you a few questions about your juniors, and of course you didn't have any a couple of years ago. How's that gone this year for you?
We've only had a couple of 14s and 16 girls. 16 girls, 14 boys. But we've been in the background. Our big next year is building up our junior base. You know, obviously to sustain yourselves in these top levels, you need to have some junior bases behind you. So we've been doing a lot of things in the background, a lot of my work. I was just at a meeting before. A lot of our work now is just trying to build up that junior base. We won't be going into any of these development leagues and that per se just yet. But if we don't start looking at that and don't start building the club in that aspect, you've sort of got to like handpick the best from other clubs, which we don't want to do all the time. But obviously, you know, we have to at this current time. But yeah, no, we're certainly looking at building the juniors, and hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll have a full junior base up from 6s all the way up to 18s and female hub as well. So onwards and upwards.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, now let's talk about the bottom end of the FQPL2. Virginia United, we know, are down. There's Coomera on 14 points, so they've got, 3 games left to get 9 points, which basically if they lose another game, they're down as well. And it's Magic United on 21 points, North Star on 24, South United on 24, Grange Thistle on 24. So 7 to 10 that could be potentially involved in a playoff. Am I describing that correctly?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Coomera played Magic last night. I think Magic scored just near the end. So you think that might have been enough to keep them up. Coomera have been battling. I mean, they were down the bottom last year. I think they even won a game last year. So, I mean, they've battled well this year. They gave us a couple of good contests. They've got the second highest goal scorer in Alvaro, I think his name is. But it looks like they might be going down, which is not ideal for them. Virginia, obviously, yeah, they're gone. Like I said before, I think it's 2 automatically down, so there's no playoff. Just 2 down, and then obviously the teams in the FQPL 3 get a chance to play off. So I think the Brisbane team comes up automatically. So yeah, times there. And again, coming from we hope there's an extra Gold Coast team in there, Broady or Rabina.
Doesn't third bottom join the playoffs as well? Or am I got that hopelessly wrong?
Do go down.
It's just bottom 2 and see you later.
Yeah, I don't think there's no playoff from QPL 3 to QPL 2. Like there's those teams like QPL 1 obviously have a playoff against our third place in QPL.
I'm just looking at the ladder now. Yeah, so FQPL 2, just the bottom 2s go straight down, and then the other 2 come up. And FQPL 1, yeah, Caboolture will have to, Caboolture or Michi, whoever finishes second bottom, they'll have a playoff with the third place, is it? Third place playoff? Yeah. So at the moment, that could be Ace, could be Wynnum, could be Holland Park. So.
Really tight between those three. Really tight, and I'm sure Ace didn't expect themselves to be there at this time of year. I mean, with the washed out games and all that, we actually expected to play Ace, and we both would have been promoted when he played them 2 weeks ago. 3 and played them last week. But with them dropping so many points, it's the other two have come up. I think Wolves bought in the transfer window, so they've obviously want to get their great facility, great place to play football. So obviously
they've had a few good solid results the last probably 3 or 4 weeks. So you'd probably expect them to continue that form, and hope, they might actually get up over Ace. Ace has got a game in hand as well. I see they're on 19, played 19. So others have played 20.
The only thing with Ace, they've got to travel back down the coast twice to Magic and to Coomera midweek.
Yeah, right.
Only one midweek, which is not ideal.
No.
Could be an interesting one for them as well.
All right.
So St. George will be promoted, is that right?
If they win,
Yeah, more or less. If they, yeah.
But they've lost their coach. They've lost their coach. Sky's gone.
Oh, why? You're winning your league. Why would they get
He's
rid
got a
of
job opportunity somewhere else and left Brisbane altogether.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't given the
No.
flick. He
No.
okay.
He left.
Right.
He finished.
Okay.
He finished last week.
Well, let's hope they've done enough to get them promoted.
Yes, they're currently at top of the league by 5 points over the Lakes. Lakes do have a game in hand, so things would have to go pretty pear-shaped for them not to get that automatic promotion place. I want to come back to that league at the moment because I want to have a chat to Jack about his competition. So Jack Sullivan, UQFC, second place, the FQPL2 Women's. 38 points, you're level with Brebner. Brebner have 2 games in hand. Taringa Rovers on top on 43. Broadbeach United on 37. This top 4, crazy competition.
Yeah, it's been really tight with all those top 4 teams. Obviously, with Brebner as well creeping up with those games in hand. They've got 2 on us, and then I think 3 on some in the league as well. So it's going to be really interesting in this last month of the season. I think we've all got heads-to-heads against each other as well. We got Taringa at home this weekend, so it'll be a big one for us. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It will come down to who can get the better of those head-to-head battles, I think. And then, yeah, by the end, in a month's time, all those places could realistically be switched around in any order at the moment. So yeah, that top 4 has been really competitive, and all the games we have played against those guys have been really, really tight matches. So it's good to see. And even some of the sort of teams in that mid-table area as well have sort of taken points off that top 4 as well, which has made things interesting. But yeah, it's been a good league, and yeah, been a really competitive sort of top half of the table, which has been good for us and our players to play against, and be in that competition, really.
Yeah, fantastic. Jack, and you're playing Taringa this weekend. That's a local derby, mate. The girls must be buzzing.
It is, but yeah, that obviously there's history with the derby between Taringa and UQ with the obviously the proximity of the clubs and all of that, alongside obviously the importance for table positions and pending Rabina's results tonight. I think they're playing Annalee. You could be first v second or first v third battle. So yeah, it's huge. It's at home. We're hoping to get a good home support out on Sunday for the match. So it's a good one. It should be big. We're all up for it. I'm sure Taringa are up for it too. So it should just be a really good match of football, I think, from what I've seen from both sides.
Jack, this is a question that I know the answer to, but I'm sure that there are people out there that would be wondering this. Your squad, are they all students of the University of Queensland?
No, so we, and across our metro teams and all that sort of stuff, we've obviously got students at the club, but it's not a student-only club. So we basically use the University of Queensland name and the seniors play out of their the facilities there. But structurally, it's similar to any other club you would have in Brisbane. So there are no restrictions on student or no student sort of players. So no, we've got probably more in the FQPL squad. Probably got more people who aren't UQ students, but we do have a couple in there obviously, who have come through and joined the club after moving from sort of various regional areas to go to uni at UQ, and sort of join the club from there and move through the ranks, which is good as well.
Right. Now, tell me if I was talking nonsense before, that you win this league, you don't go up, do you? You're stuck in this competition for at least another year.
So, I mean, it depends on what you believe in the FQ ladders. I believe it is 2 up, 2 down, is what I've been told. But it's, look, who knows? That's what I was looking at. Potentially, the top 2 go up and then the bottom 2 go down. But it's all subject to license agreements and all that sort of stuff. So it's really up in the air. From our perspective, we're just looking to finish as high as we possibly can on the table, and whatever happens, happens. And we'll go with sort of whatever that structure is going forward. But as far as I know, it is 2 up, 2 down. But yeah.
Okay. So as per usual, I was talking nonsense. There we go.
No, it's just like that's an example. Like Darren, it's an example where Football Queensland have got to try and work these promotion relegations out and saying teams can't go down and teams can't go up because for whatever reason. I mean, you've got Raw, they're sitting bottom last. Second bottom last, and Logan are the ones going to go down, even though Logan is going to finish above them or could finish above them in the table. And then it's just madness. I don't know why it sucks, man. I can frustrate
Hold
no
that
end.
thought, Lliam. Hold that thought. We're going to discuss that at the end of the show.
Okay. Holding on.
Holding.
All right.
All right. Now, let's go to the FQPL 3 Metro Men's. We were talking before about St. George Willawong being top of the league on 43 points. The Lakes, with a game in hand, are on 38. Newmarket having a really good year. They're in third on 37 points. Bayside United on 35. The big disappointment in this league, Tony Georges, is our mate Leo. Pine Hills.
Yes, I was at I was at the game on Saturday. I went to Acacia Ridge on Saturday. And yeah, it's very disappointing. And they're playing tonight as well. But I think this is the worst finish Leo's ever had as a coach. Anyway.
Wow.
They're not even anywhere near the top 4, are they? I'm not as far as I'm aware. No.
They're on 22 points. Top 4 is
13 points off fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's very disappointed. And I talk to Leo regularly, and yeah, he's not happy.
Was it players, or was it the season being disrupted? Players?
A lot of players left. Even last weekend, they had a game last weekend. They have 2 or 3 players at a Bucks party or something. They've got, couple of young Cozzy, Yanakopoulos left. Young Carlos is injured or left. So
Yeah.
He's lost 4 or 5. So
St. George Willawong, they invested well at the start of the season. They had a lot of players coming in from FQPL 1. Yeah.
And of course, they've got Kato Aochi now, who's filled his bingo card of clubs on the south side.
You saw my comment when I heard that he went there.
Yeah, no, good stuff, and a great signing for St. George.
Has he been scoring goals?
Let's have a look. Let's see if we can do this really quickly. Where is he? There he is.
Just while we wait for Darren to sort his stuff out.
11 goals in 8 games.
There you go. Well, Liam Safe's there, and he gets on very well with the Safe family, doesn't? So yeah, because Liam's taken over.
Excellent. Well, that was fortuitous, wasn't it? I saw when we saw. Yeah, good work.
I was just gonna say that Western Spirit, they'd be happy with Mr. Alex Parsons, one of Western Spirit's juniors, continuing his A-League journey with Sydney FC. Yeah.
Of course, Western Spirit could do with a win. They're currently in 11th place.
Yeah. Come on, Ipswich. Come on.
Maybe they could lend Alex back to them for the last two games.
Yeah, might be out of his budget. Might be out of their budget.
And a horror year for the Gap. Both their men's and women's top teams are.
You know what though? With the Gap women though, the last, give them credit. The last probably 4 games, so they've managed to get a few pretty good goals out of that squad. So it's a shame that we're going down, but hopefully they can continue with that momentum at the start of next season, because they kind of have been the whipping girls of their league. And so I'm probably going off on a bit of a tangent here, like I always do. But yeah, they were showing a few signs there, and I hope something can come out of it. Tangent over.
We'll quickly run through the other Metro League. So FQPL 4, Logan Metro on top, 2 points over North Pine, North Brisbane in 3rd, Redcliffe Dolphins in 4th. We'll get Spencer on the show next week to run us through all that. At the bottom, we've got Slacks Creek and Ipswich Bulls. They are both down.
What's going on at Ipswich, Lliam? Come on, man. You need to throw some money in.
I don't know. I don't know. If I say too much, I'll get in trouble.
They'll kick you out. They'll put you in the same spot as Papa Sally. Yeah. No special messages for me. Yeah.
But, I don't know. Look, I think City Bulls is a. That's a bit of a disappointment. They'll be disappointed as well with the club, as a club as well. I mean, they. I don't know. They had a few good players. I think they had a couple of ex-Pride players come in the start of the season, and it's just another Ipswich club going down. Just all just going down through the ladder. We need to as clubs do better, don't we?
FQPL 3 Metro Women's, North Brisbane played 15, won 14, drawn 1. If there's 2 promotion places, it's Mount Kavat and Caboolture that have 1 point between them, 29 and 28 points respectively. Could be exciting to see which club of those 2 goes up. FQPL 5 Metro Men, Springfield United still on top.
Yeah.
Brighton Bulldogs biting at their heels, just 4 points behind. Terry in 3rd, Willowburn 4th. Good to see Willowburn doing well. FQPL 6, Park Ridge. They had the wobbles there a couple of weeks ago, but they've maintained their place. They're still on top, just 1 point over Yeronga Eagles. FC Aldridge Salisbury and Ridge Hills a further 2 points.
Tiviot Downs. I remember last season we had a chat. Was it with Spencer about Tiviot Downs?
Yes.
I think we had. And they just seemed to, still right down the bottom. Doesn't look like they've advanced much at all this season.
Well, they're currently second bottom at the moment. They've Logan Roos are the whipping boys of the competition now. So there's an improvement there for Teviot that they can take into future seasons. All right, now FQPL 2 Women's. I've discussed that already. Let's get back to Kirk. Kirk, you've been watching your local league, mate?
I've been sort of following it a bit. So you got Brebner up the top by 1 point over Broadbeach. Broadbeach played Palm Beach on the weekend on Friday night. Palm Beach was sitting 3rd. They got the result there, 2-1, I think it was, 3-1, sorry, to Broadbeach. So that sort of puts Palm Beach out of the equation, I think, to make the spot. 3 games left, I think. One's been a catch-up midweek, I think, for the both squads. So, yeah, it's going to go right down to the wire. Both teams heavily wanting that promotion, FQPL 2. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting who gets the chocolates there.
Who do you fancy, mate?
Look,
how many friends do I have at Broadbeach? How many friends do I have at Rabina?
Looking at the fixtures left, I would say Rabina, but I would maybe prefer Broadbeach to go up. So, go up, but go in the playoff. You've still got some strong competition up there in the sunny coast, and I hope Toowoomba go in the playoff this year. Last year they weren't interested, and obviously, who'd you say was second in the Metro?
The So in the Brisbane competition?
The
Yeah, so it's currently the Lakes.
Lakes,
Yeah.
they're a strong side. They were strong last year, so I think they would fancy their chances too. But Broadbeach or Robina, I would probably say one of them would more likely get up.
I'd fancy them too, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, they're both. I mean, Robina, strong club. They're in the FQPL Development League with the kids as well. They got strong in their program. Broadbeach, I mean, a powerhouse in the club for the last 10 in the coast for the last 10 years. They're back up where they belong. So it's very interesting to see that. And obviously, one's going to be very pissed off that they didn't get that promotion chance. So yeah, looking forward to actually the last couple of games to see what happens there.
To be fair, Kirk, that's a quick turnaround for Robina and Broadbeach. I mean, Broadbeach were sort of mid-table last season, but the year before they well and truly struggled, narrowly avoiding relegation. Robina,
A lot of the Broadbeach players at that time went to Nerang. So they lost. So it took them a couple of years to build their squad back up. And then the Nerang players obviously left to go to Robina. So they've been around a few places, and Robina brought in a few kids as well to help them. So so it's probably the Broadbeach players that have gone around, the older players that have been around a few clubs now. So it's a big turnaround for them in terms of, I mean, Robina a couple of years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, were in QPL 4, so the old Coast League. So that's huge for them to come up, But they're a massive club, huge club. I think they've got like 700 juniors. So they got the potential of being a powerhouse down here if they really put their senior program together, which they have this year.
Agreed. Yes, been some great appointments off the field there at Robina. Palm Beach and Southport currently make up the top 4. Do you think either of those, Kingscliff and Fifth, they could be in finals contention as well? Do you fancy either of those winning the grand final?
I think Southport played Kingscliff on the weekend. That was pretty much to see who was going to come fourth. Southport got the chocolates there. So I think speaking to some people at Southport, they would be very outsiders to make the grand final, which is probably not great to say. But if they're coming up against Broady or Robina, who are red hot at the moment, Palm Beach would be very disappointed that they didn't take the title out or get up there. I mean, they battled right to the end. They've only got two games to go. They're only like 4 points out of it, but they stayed out of the FA Cup for that reason. They really, really want to push up, so they could certainly make the grand final. So it'd be out of those 3, Robina, Broady and Palmy, I think, to win the grand final. So yeah, that would be an interesting one. Then I think that's played a couple of weeks before. I think it's played on the 6th, so a couple of weeks before a lot of the other finals start taking place.
And let's have a look now at FQPL 4 South Coast Men's. Tweed United on top, Gold Coast Knights in 2nd, Murwillumbah 3rd, Ormo 4th, Surfers Paradise in 5th.
Yeah, we're there, mate. We're there. Yeah, so we played Tweed 2 weeks ago to try and I think we'll come 2nd at the stage. So that's our under-18 side, pretty much playing that. We have a sprinkling of older age players to help them. But Knights have got a couple of games in hand. I'd probably predict Knights to get promoted up there into the QPL 3. They've got a really strong side. Tweed, obviously, you're currently first, strong, but they've only got 2 games left, and I think they're clear by 2 points. Well, it's a real strange league. They're so close to each other. Murwillumbah, Ormo, Surfers. Pat Pines were there. Pat Pines now struggling for numbers, so I think they're dropped off. But yeah, I mean, Enon could beat Enon in their day. It's obviously with the washouts, it sort of screwed a lot of clubs over with playing games. I think Knights play midweek weekend for the last month. So, obviously that's for them to pump up where they are right now. That's good for them. And then you've got ourselves, I wouldn't say our kids, 18-year-old men, they've done a really good job this year. Our coach, Dave Parro's done a tremendous job. We'll be looking at promoting some of them up to the 23s next year. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a learning curve for those kids to play in some men's football, which we thought was better than playing in the 18 league. So,
Are Gold Coast Knights doing the same thing?
No, they've got a bit of an older team there. Bit of boys who've been around for a bit. I think if they get promoted next year, they certainly will bring a lot of their kids through. Maybe they're 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-olds who probably aren't ready for maybe for 23s might go into that league. Yes, they're sort of looking at, and we were sort of looking at the same aspect if we made it up there of maybe putting these, the older ones who can't do QPL2 or QPL1 would drop help the younger ones through. But the Knights themselves now, they're a bit of an older team. Very physical, strong side, play some good football. We've sort of found that a lot, the QPL4. It's a lot of older sides there with a lot of the younger kids more so playing reserves, or 23s if you want to call it, except for the Surfers reserve grade side, which yours truly gets to play in. I think we won every game except for last week, our first loss. So I think we need one more point to win the league. So that's more than over 35 than an under 23 side, that one. So bit of fun.
And I've heard one of our Gold Coast guests during the season say that there perhaps wasn't going to be promotion out of this competition this year. Is that not the case?
No, there is promotion. There will be promotion up. To be honest, the amount of teams that get promoted up will more so rely on if Coomera come down. If Coomera come down, I think only one goes up and one will play off. There was honestly, it can get confusing. But there is definitely the one automatic promotion, which would be say Knights, for example, who are currently sitting second but might have games in hand, and Narang down the bottom will get relegated. And then if Coomera come down, I think there might be a playoff for the second spot. Oh mate, I'll give up. It's very confusing. But there is a promotion and definitely relegation from 3 and promotion from 4, at least by one team.
There you go. It's confusing everywhere, isn't it?
It is very.
Yeah.
I think next year, as we were talking before, Liam, it's like there's 2 up, 2 down across the board.
Yeah.
Simple. Everyone knows about it. Forget your playoffs. Playoffs are a waste of time. Just 2 up, 2 down.
Exactly. I think so. Yeah. 2 up, 2 down. But
I would say that your playoff victory last year over Bayside, I think that held you in great stead for this season.
It did. I mean, it did. But like if you're in a playoff and you're beating someone 8-1 or something like 8-2, whatever it was, that's not a good look for the leagues, if that makes sense, But, our boys got to celebrate. We didn't make the grand final, so that was like a grand final for us, I suppose. But if you win the league, you want to get promoted automatically, don't you? That's the whole point of it,
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, in the playoffs, and I've seen a few. If you make the playoffs, say Broadbeach make the playoffs, they've got finals to contend with and the playoffs. So which one becomes more the focus, the finals or the playoff?
Oh, you'd have to go for the playoff to get higher, wouldn't you?
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't get a trophy for a playoff. You get a trophy for the grand final. They get to keep the gate for the grand final too. It's a strange one, but you'd think the playoff would always trump the finals. So, yeah.
All right. Now, guys, that's our run through the leagues. Sunny Coast, we're going to do a deep dive next week, and Darling Downs will revisit those competitions as well. But I'd like to finish tonight's show with a little chat. Every time that we discuss the Raw Youth and the QAS team in the NPL women's competition, it's always, why can't they get relegated? They should be relegated and go down.
And you are correct. That's correct, Darren.
Here is the counter argument. All right. Now, Brisbane Raw and the QAS are plucking the best youth players from all of the leagues and supposedly giving them the best coaching. Their role is to develop players.
Well, we're in trouble, man.
The way to develop players is to put them in the best competition. Now, last season, Raw Youth were they second, third? They were in running for the league. Now, that was 3 years of these guys playing together, developing all these players. And then what happened at the end of the season? They all went out into the world, into all the different competitions, into the other NPL clubs as well. So every club benefits from them being in this competition in that they're producing players. It doesn't matter if, obviously, the Royal Youth aren't that focused on winning leagues. So it's one less team to worry about with regards to winning the league. The QAS, the players in the NPL women's competition are 15, 16 years old. I think that they need to give the program a little bit of a tweak. We had David De Silva on a few weeks ago, and he said that they were looking at doing that to make them more competitive. The year that I was commentating the NPL women, they actually won the grand final. So, and there certainly hasn't been the case since. So they're looking at tweaking their program to make them more competitive. But if we're going to produce players, give the best young players opportunities, it's got to be in the best league. It's got to be up against the best players. That's the only way that we're going to see how good they can be. And as I said before, everyone benefits when they come off contract because they can then go to your club and improve your squad. Retort, guys.
Apart from Jelicic, who else stood out? Over the last 3 years, we've had all these standouts, supposedly. Apart from Jelicic, that's gone from Olympic to Perth Glory. Who else is being standing out of their club?
And probably Alex Parsons, but
There you go.
but he didn't.
He didn't benefit from them.
Yeah, but he didn't. He spent like one season with them or something, and but he was more or less spirit and pride kind of driven. Now, my argument with this is that your under 23s and your under 18s and all that, if they're good enough to be playing for their clubs, they would be given the opportunity with their clubs to be playing at the senior level. They would be in there with senior players, getting more of an experience with games with their senior players. If you're good enough in your club to be playing up, you'll be selected and you'll play up. Now, I mean, you know, you've got. I think someone said in the chat about pathways, etc. With Mackay this week as well about pathways. There's so much said about pathways, isn't there? I mean, what is a good pathway? You know, what isn't. But I just feel as though if you're good enough to be in the league, you deserve to be there. Now, Logan, at this stage, at the moment, they're third from the bottom. They at the moment they are being relegated over Raw. Now, I don't think football should be doing that. I think you should scrap Raw Youth. You should scrap the QAS, and all your junior players come through the ranks like the rest of the football does in the world. And then if you're good enough to be chosen for Brisbane Raw senior team or the Raw Youth or Raw Women, you know, that's the way it should go. I think your junior players coming through the ranks of your club, getting under 23s, getting exposed to senior. If you're good enough and there's no room in your senior team, then another club comes along and picks you up, and away you go. And that's the way I think it should go. I think like the rest of the world, I think that's the way it should go. And I think they should scrap. Maybe not scrap Raw Youth, but if they're not good enough to be in the top league, the players that you have selected to be in that youth team aren't good enough to be staying up, then you go down, and then they stay with the Raw Youth and they keep building up, and then maybe they might be promoted. I don't know. That's just my thought. I'm old school on it, and I don't like it at all, and I don't think it should happen again. I think Football Queensland need to change it.
Jack, you're new school. What are your thoughts, mate?
Look, I'll probably give a very boring answer. I can see the pros and cons of both sides of things. Obviously, like looking at the women's side of stuff, I believe like most of the players you see coming through into the Raw Women's they're coming through Lions. They're playing their club football there. So you're looking at that argument of, well, where is the best development space for those individual players? And the argument at the moment would be in a club like a Lions or one of those other top NPL clubs. As I said, I can see the benefits of that QAS system and having those younger players having the opportunity to play against top players in top leagues. But on the flip side of that, I do think there needs to be a level of accountability with that, especially if there is a history of teams finishing very, very low year in, year out.
Yeah.
Then that's when those questions come in. If there is a freak season and they're consistently mid-table to higher in the table year in, year out, sure. And then there's a freak season where they finish really low, as if they're going through a rebuild and build, then you have that argument. But if it's year in, year out at the bottom of the table, then I definitely think the discussion has to be had. Whether that discussion is to change the system, as I said, I'm on the fence personally, but it's something that results have shown that probably needs to have at least some sort of change in that area.
I know people don't like it, but I don't care. I'll say Western Pride because that's what I know. All right, there'll be other clubs as well. They'll be in the same boat. Okay, now you've got the likes of Jesse Rigby, Alex Parsons, Dylan Winsell-Halls, Joe Duckworth, Andy Pengelly, Hayden McHenry. They're all like either an A-League or they're with Lions or they're with Peninsula Power, top clubs, right? Those boys started playing together with Western Pride years and years and years ago. They stayed together. They kept their spots. They were, I think, the likes of Andy Pengelly and Alex were in the under 20 or under 20s at the time, whatever it was. They were good enough. They were chosen, so up they went with Graham Harvey. Now those boys came through the junior ranks. Probably not so much Dylan, but some of Dylan. They pretty much stayed together as a club. They kept being selected. They kept staying together, and eventually, yes, it was a closed league, but eventually they got that good at playing together and with their skills, they won a grand final. And in 2017, 2018 again, they made the semi-final. Now, whatever happened between 18 and 19, that's history. But all those guys left and they went to these higher clubs, and that's because, to me, it's because they stuck together. The club stuck by them. They showed promise, and then they were good enough, and then they went out to the other clubs. Okay, so and also Dan Hall as well, who's down at Central Coast Mariners. That's my look. That's my take on it. If you stick by your juniors, put them where they're supposed to be in the top part. Like if they're good enough to play in your senior team or your under 23, and they show promise week in, week out, and you work on them, they'll be discovered and they'll get better and better. That's my take on it.
Kirk, what's your take?
I think it's an FQ thing. FQ's got to work out what they want the leagues to be. Do they want it to be a development team in a professional league, or a professional league with teams that want to compete to be the best and to be the top? Let's be fair, Raw every year is going to be hit or miss because they bring players in and the players get farmed out, as you sort of said. So they're either going to be up or they're going to be down the bottom, in terms of the new ones come in. They might be, not so well this year, but they might be better for next year because they've done a year in. And you got to remember, this is what the Raw coaches feel that they're the best players that they go and get, and clearly it's probably not, because there's better players out there currently in the NPL now. I think Liam's right. Trust your kids at your own club. They want to come through, they come through. If they get farmed out to Raw, then good on them. But I think FQ's got to just decide what they want the Raw youth to be. Do they want it to just be purely development, which they're clearly showing, and there's no accountability for them to win any games, is there? Because they can't get relegated. So just go out and, just try and play football. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. And then that comes to a football thing in Australia. Do we want to produce kids that just want to try and play football, or try and play football and actually win?
Yeah. I'm a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to football, though. Like I don't. That's just through and through.
Tony, I'll give you the final word, mate.
Well, as far as I'm aware, if you're second anywhere in the world, if you're second last and the bottom two get relegated, you go. Doesn't matter who you are. Let those kids play
It's true.
FQPL1.
Yeah.
Let them play in the lower division. See how they go there. That
That's
might be the level.
That's cutting through the spin. That is. I love it.
Right.
Don't you go down.
You're gone. That's it. Why should Logan go down? They busted their
Exactly.
chops off to get in.
They exactly. They busted their ass to get up into
Get
the
in.
top league.
That's right. And now
And they're
they
gonna
get down
finish-
because of the Royal Youth.
Yeah, and they're going to finish third last, and they're still going to get relegated.
Yeah. No.
I know they know the competition rules before the season starts. You know, I get all that. I understand it, but you still finished higher in the league than the well at this stage they have.
Yeah.
Below Raw, with Raw below them. I just think that's shit.
And that's where Football Queensland should come in and say top two, bottom two, every comp. That's it.
Yeah,
Done.
exactly. Just make it blanket.
Yeah.
When they start catching up with the amount of teams in the league, yeah, but I understand at the moment they had one down, three up, freaking up, and one down, all that shit over the last couple of years of trying to even up the numbers. But even still, I mean, the Premier League has 20 in it, and the bloody Championship has like 20,000 or something. And you know,
Right.
their season goes forever. So does that even matter? I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're not
That's
the Premier
our
League,
show.
are we? We're just humble South East Queensland. Football.
That's our show.
It ha-
3 weeks.
It hasn't been the nursery that they all made out to be. There hasn't been that many kids from the Raw Youth or whatever come through and stand out in NPL clubs.
I'm sure there are people out there that are just rolling off
What-
name after name.
Name
after
them.
name.
Well, name them. The last
Yeah.
2 years, who have we got? Jealousy. Name me another one.
Yeah.
I can't
No.
personally.
There you go.
The only other one, like I said, was Alex Parsons about 2 or 3 seasons ago. But he was signed.
He was signed to the Raw Youth from Ipswich or from your
Yeah.
club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So that wasn't the Raw.
He didn't come through.
That wasn't the Raw. No.
All right, that's our show.
Thank you.
It's been, what is this, an hour 10 show tonight? Anyway, there's
No problem.
there's obviously a lot to catch up on. So, well, as I said, we'll be talking about the Sunny Coast League and the Darling Downs League next week. We didn't even talk about that tonight. Crazy. All right, I'm Darren. This is the Village Law SEQFC. What are we called? The Village Law SEQFC preview show. Back next week. Thank you to all my guests. See you then.
See you, boys.
Bye.
Bye.